So let me share the screen as well. So last time I gave you the paper as we're doing the papers. 1 second, beta. Now, this is the one we were doing, okay? October 2070. Did you try doing it? Yes or no? Kiya nahi, it doesn't matter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me discuss with you, okay? The way I've solved it, let's discuss it. Inshallah, ये हमारा अक्टूबर हो गया. June 18 we'll be doing on Tuesday. November 18 Friday. Okay, फिर 19 के रह गए. That's it. और फिर हम अपनी P3 करना है. मेरे ख्याल से अब June 18 के बाद let's do P3s. And there are only 2 papers left of to P2. So one pick up, you can keep it for yourself, okay? Procedural high-level languages usually support different data types, given appropriate data type for each data value in the following table. So I'm pretty sure you would have been able to do this. So for true, false, obviously is Boolean logic. That's a date, that's an integer. Okay. This is a string, since you have double quotes, a string. That's a real and that's a string as well. So I hope there is no problem in this. Yes or no? Clear? Obviously yes. Okay. The following, मैं थोड़ा fast करूँ बेटा क्योंकि 2:30 तक I have another class. Is it fine? अगर जब आपको issue है, no problem. I can delay that class. मगर आप मुझे बता देना कि सर okay? Okay. मतलब जो easy है मैं तेज करा दूँगा. आपको feel होता है तो please मुझे stop कर दिया करो कि sir I didn't get it. Okay? Right. किसने join किया? Right, Zamna join कर लिया. Nimra, can you hear me, beta? Nimra, Zamna?
Yes, sir.
Right. The following is a declaration. I hope you did the paper. उसको discuss कर रहे हैं. The following declaration: finite language, define, migrate this. Obviously, you had to tell the data structure of this. So you could have written array, but it's much better if you write it as 1D array. It would have been much better, right? Okay. Okay, right. An expected programmer is presented with program code in an unfamiliar high-level language. So state 2 features of the code that the programmer should be able to recognize. And the question obviously says is that there are some common parts between all the object-oriented programming languages. These common parts tend to be obviously the same. For example, if we talk about the selection, if there is a statement, you'll find them in all the languages. If you talk about the iteration or the repetition, you will obviously find loops in every language. If you talk about a declaration, you will always find them in every language. So these are the features that we are referring to that you can talk about, right? An ASCII character set A is represented by the value 65. The values representing the other characters of the alphabet follow in sequence. So B becomes this, obviously you know that, and so on and so. The following table represents consecutive memory locations. By the way, you do know the difference between the ASCII and the Unicode? Yes or no? Zamna? ASCII code or Unicode में फर्क क्या है if they ask you a question? Obviously, you will answer by saying that as far as the ASCII code, the American standard was developed. This was initially developed for limited number of characters, which are 256. Later on, when other languages started doing programming, there had to be more characters added to it, which were Japanese, they were in German. For example, in German, the B is somehow written like this. If you define this B in ASCII code, it will not recognize it, but this is recognized in Unicode. In MS Word, you will find ASCII code and Unicode both. So Unicode, in summary, Unicode consists of lots of more characters that have been added to it, so that universally all the languages characters are acceptable. So that was what Unicode is. That's the difference. Abhi discuss हुआ था आपको पता होना चाहिए. Now this is what they have done. They have given you the addresses. This is not the point of concern. The point of concern is that how do we write this and what data do you get? So obviously you just had to write that as far as the quotations are concerned, there's nothing over here. C A, G, E. So they told you A is represented by what, and you just had to figure out where does A, G, E comes in. So obviously it's a very generic question, not something very complicated. A high-level language, the length function is used to turn the number of characters in a string. Okay, we know that, fine. Explain what is stored in addition to the string characters to allow this function to determine this number. Very interesting question and bit of confusing, I would say. क्योंकि maybe इस question को आप गलत भी समझ जाओ. Question basically says explain what is stored in addition to the string characters. Many students came up with wrong answer by saying that it could include spaces, it could include double quotes and other characters, and what that is wrong. Because when the examiner talks about, say, string characters, the examiner means the 256 characters that we're talking about. So string characters will include those characters, so uska baat nahi kar sakte. So that would have been wrong. To allow this function to determine. So the right way obviously will be, in order to calculate the length of string, the starting position value determined and the terminating. So it's very important to read the question very carefully. अगर question गौर से नहीं पढ़ोगे, and if you fail to focus on some very important points, you might turn out to answer the wrong one. ठीक है? But by the way, जो मैं कह रहा हूँ वो सही है गलत है, मतलब you were able to answer this properly? Yeah, there was a confusion. What do you say? Zamna?
Sir, confusion थी.
Confusion थी ना? तो I'm right. Confusion इस paper इसमें question में आई थी, and many students thought of the wrong thing. So obviously, in order to calculate the length, you have to first of all obviously determine is the starting position and the ending position. That's it. This is what you have to focus on.
Sir, ये फिर से explain करते हैं.
ये वाला, ये length वाला. जी, मैं नहीं ये वाला ये. You're talking about this part, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me explain again. The question basically says that you have a length function that is used to determine and tells you the number of characters that you have in a string. बिल्कुल ठीक है. The question says that explain what is stored in addition to the string characters to allow this function to determine this number. So मतलब ये कि length function, how does it work? How does the length function calculate and count as the number of characters that are there in the string? Well, इसके लिए obviously you had to tell was that for that we should know the starting position of the string and should know the terminating values with which the string ends. Okay. In other words, you could have explained that the indexing of the string has to be determined. The zero location of the string has to be determined, and the ending indexing number of the string has to be determined. That would have been also right. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Right. जब ये पास पेपर्स हो जाएंगे ना, इंशाल्लाह बाय फ्राइडे हमारे P2 के पास पेपर्स हो जाएंगे. मैंने आपको कहा हुआ उसके बाद I will give you random questions, different questions of P2 that we have to focus on apart from the past papers. ठीक है, फिर आपने इसके बाद वो करने हैं. Functions and procedures are subroutines. Okay, right. Explain why parameters are used with subroutines. We have talked about subroutines. We've talked about, for example, I have this function call. इसके अंदर I can call different parameter values. This 10 and 2 are the parameter values. Or मैंने last time probably Python में I did tell you how we can call this. Okay, so I have this function call, and I have this a b, so I can send values and refer to. So these are parameters, by the way. Question here: explain why parameters are used. Why parameters are used with subroutines, right? So obviously, the reason why we use subroutines is about reusability. And to avoid global declaration, I don't have to globally declare everything again and again. Okay. And basically it's about allow the function to be reused as well. Reused का मतलब ये है कि मैंने function declare किया कहीं. Okay. and I want to call this function with different values again and again. Sometimes I'm calling with the parameters 2 and 10. Sometimes I will call with the parameters 20 and 50. Sometimes I'll call it, but I don't know. Maybe on decimal. I don't know. It depends on what data type I have defined it. मकसद ये है कि reusability is one of the point why parameters have to be defined. And secondly, आप एक बार इसको define कर दोगे तो you don't have to redefine again and globally in a case define हो जाते हैं. Okay. को अगर तो मैं वीडियो लेक्चर भी शेयर कर दूंगा पैरामीटर वैल्यूज के ऊपर आप लोगों के साथ so that you have more of an idea about parameter values. Okay, a very very interesting question and I believe is ये full scoring question था अगले वाला भी और full scoring होना चाहिए था. The following pseudocode is an example of a case structure. Case of mark, we have discussed switches, okay, it's something like that. Case of mark, from this to this, it's distinction, from 37, this is pass, and then this is. So as far as your switches are concerned, by the way, we call them switches or cases, okay. How do we implement them? मैं आपको इसका एक बार pseudo को लिख कर देता हूँ generic way तरीके से. So switches are implemented in this way. आपको generally idea होना चाहिए. मैं बता देता हूँ आपको. For example, I can have over here is a variable a. मैं define करता हूँ 5, and then I can use is make generic statement लिख रहा हूँ. Switch a. And we have over here the code block. इसका लिख लेते हैं just like the if का अपना होता है, इसका भी अपना होता है. How does it work is that इसके अपने cases होते हैं. So we have case. If you say case is 5, and then you can say then you have a statement. You have any statement. Okay, and then you need to break that statement. Then you will have another case. For example, you have case is 7. And then you will have another statement. And then you will have a break. And statement, and then you have is it break. So this is the way your cases basically work. Whatever you define, so if the variable a is defined as 5, it's the switch will see what is in 5, what is in a, what a holds. Accordingly, if it's 5, it will give me the statement and it will end. If it's 9, it will come over here, it will display me the statement and then it will break. So it's more like the if then else statement. If you find this, then you do this, else you do this, else. So if works in quite the same manner. But you're supposed to know how does a switch works as well. Okay? That's how your switch works. मैं आपकी ग्रुप में भी शेयर कर देता हूँ so that you have an idea. Okay, so let's get back. So we have this. Describe what will happen if the pseudocode is tested when my mark has the following values. So if I have 27, so 27 basically is over here. It's between this 0 to 20, so we'll have failed. And what if we have 101? 101, it comes not here, does not come here, so it's basically an invalid value. So invalid will appear. I'm pretty sure you would have done it this right. The next question is very important. Use pseudocode to write if statement with the same functionality. If you would have tried doing it, I think so it's pretty easy. Zamna Khatija का आपने try किया question का, मैं आंसर दिखाया था आपको. So इसमें if then else लगाना था, हमने ranges बतानी थी इसमें. Before I show you, let's discuss it. So we would have simply stated over here that if the my grade is greater than 75 and less than 100, it will be distinction. Else if it's greater than 35 and less than 74, it will be pass. Else if it's greater than 0 and less than 34, less than or equal to 34, it would be failed. Else output this, and then you have end if, right? So if my work, like for example, one condition, then do this. Another condition, then do this. Third condition, then do this. And then the output. So, pretty easy.
Sir,
Yes, beta?
सर इसके अंदर डिक्लेरेशन करेंगे शुरू में या इसको मतलब इफ स्टेटमेंट से स्टार्ट करके खत्म कर देना है?
डिक्लेरेशन करने की जरूरत नहीं है, कर भी तो तभी ठीक है, तब कर भी तो तभी ठीक है, मगर डायरेक्टली क्वेश्चन है कि इफ स्टेटमेंट को किस तरह करना है विद द सेम फंक्शनैलिटी. डिक्लेयर माई आप किसको करोगे? डिक्लेयर माई मार्क करोगे, दैट्स इट ना. हाँ, माई मार्क एज,
जी सर.
हाँ, माई मार्क एज एन इंटीजर, दैट्स इट.
यस.
कर भी तो तब ठीक है, डिक्लेयर कर भी तो ठीक है, मगर इसमें इज देयर एनी इशू declaring all this? Right?
नो सर.
Okay, right. So please next time if there's a simple question, you'll be able to do it well. A 1D array class name of the string contains 100 elements. ठीक है? The following pseudocode represents a simple algorithm to process the array. Declare search value string, declare found flag boolean. We have discussed what flag basically does. Okay, declare index as number. Fine. Input search value flag found false अगर होता है, yeah, and index 1, right? So index initializes with 1 while index is less than 101 and found flag is false. If class index equals search value, then output this, found flags true, and index keep on incrementing by 1. If found flag is equals to false, then output not found. Well, you can see over here is basically what we're doing. Well, you can see over here is that we have an array, and in an array we have defined 100 elements. Okay, so we're going less than 101, and we have a flag that tells us that something has been found or not. We have a search value that we'll be inserting into the system, and this search value needs to be found. The search value will be that value will be a number, and we are trying to make it equal to the class name index. So let's say if the index number is 10 and the search value is 10, 10 will point out to the index number. So, and we will be able to find whatever there is in index. Okay. So next time the index increments one by one so that a particular value that we have entered over here can be searched and can be located from the array to pinpoint to an index. So I believe this is what I assume that my algorithm over here is doing. Am I right? Am I right? Is this what you think as well, all of you? Huh? Zamna, Khatija, is this what you think as well? Na? ये algorithm यही करेगा ना?
यस सर.
कोई confusion है? कोई confusion है? Please have a look at the code. मैं तो पास I don't want you to cram all this. ना अब वो time आना चाहिए कि you should be able to solve all this with me. So what do you think? So where is the confusion? Is this algorithm not doing all this? है ना? You should have full understanding of what is this doing, this pseudocode. Have a look at it, please, if you have not. Declaration key.
सर मुझे ये समझ नहीं आया उसने इंडेक्स प्लस 1 क्यों किया, मतलब काउंटर क्यों लगाया यहाँ पे?
हाँ, वो हमने इसलिए लगाया है, तो आप ये देखो ना, 1D array class name of the type string contains this. अब उन्होंने ये नहीं बताया कि what is it doing. Fine, because maybe that's what the question is. आपके पास एक array है, आपके पास different elements हैं which are comma separated values. इस पे कोई नंबर है, कोई नंबर है. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So आपने search value enter की, let's say is 4. आपके index start होगा 1 से. It was compare class name index is it equal search value. So इसका जो आपने value लिखे 4, इसके index पे जाएगा, पहले 1 पे देखेगा do I have that value, फिर यहाँ भी आपकी values लिखी होंगी ना numbers, फिर यहाँ कंपेयर करेगा do I have that value 4 वाली, यहाँ आएगा do I have that 4 value, यहाँ आएगा do I have 4 value, हो सकता है 4 इधर हो लोकेशन पे, तो जहाँ उसको मिलेगा इंडेक्स वैल्यू पे वो आपको डिस्प्ले करा देगा. So singular assigning. So search value में जो भी value होगी, that will be okay. We will come in the class index.
जी सर, लग गई, समझ लग गई.
ठीक है. Then output index. तो found true. अगर वो equal है, अगर this is equal to this, फिर then output index उसको output कर दे और found flag कह दे yes हमें मिल गया. अदरवाइज अगर ये नहीं होता तो फिर आप देखो वाइल ये इससे बाहर है. अगर ये नहीं होता तो फिर इंक्रीमेंट करता रहे और जब ये मिल जाए तब हम डिस्प्ले करा दे आउट. यू गेट द पॉइंट, राइट?
जी सर.
Okay, so वो कहता है describe the purpose of the algorithm. It would basically find the index number of the search value that is typed in. The search value would point to the index number and retrieve the index value. If not found, it would output not found. Right? Okay. By the way, this is pretty easy. मगर मैं अब इसको draw नहीं कर सकता. It will take time. मगर आप ये try करके मुझे बता दोगे? क्योंकि ये you just have to draw flowchart represent the algorithm, यही वाला. I have to open up. मैं ख्याल से remember marking scheme इसको open कर देता हूँ. I probably have it. I just want to show it to you. It's winter 17, and this is paper. Yeah. Hopefully you can see it. अगर आपको नजर आ रहा है. So start होगा. ड्रॉ करने में टाइम लगे मुझे. Start हुआ input search value. Flag को define को false. Index 1. ठीक है. So right. Input के लिए we use this symbol. Okay. Definitionally we use this, and then we have a condition. If this is a condition of numbers. And if index is less than 101 and found flag is equals to false. अच्छा, your flowchart could differ a bit from this, मगर overall ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. Conditions, your input, your process, your statement should be the same. So if it's yes, then class name index is equal search value. Yes होगा तो output हो जाएगा और flag true हो जाएगा. अगर no होगा तो वो increment होगी, value दोबारा वापस जाएगी और फिर वो दोबारा उसमें से देखेगा. You get what point? और अगर यहाँ no होगा तो directly it will come here, found flag false. Yes, output not found. Okay, yes, no, so it will stop. So this is the flow chart of this. Any confusion in this?
No sir.
ठीक है. मेरे ख्याल से फ्लो चार्ट्स की भी मैं अब आपके साथ ना आई नो यू हैव अदर सब्जेक्ट्स, आई टोटली अंडरस्टैंड, मगर मैं आपको जो अब काम भेजूंगा प्लीज आपने वो करने भी है. मैं आपको फ्लो चार्ट्स की 2-3 और एक्टिविटीज, रिमेंबर आई गेव यू प्रीवियसली एज वेल, आई विल गिव यू सम मोर. लेट्स प्रैक्टिस सम थिंग्स मोर. मैंने आपको एक सिंपल बेसिक सूडो कोड का सेंड यू नीड टू हैव अ लुक एट दैट एज वेल. इट्स वेरी बेसिक. प्लीज उसमें देयर सिंपल क्वेश्चंस एंड देयर सिंपल सॉल्यूशंस टू इट. हैव अ लुक एट दैट वन. I will send you more advanced pseudocode by tomorrow evening. ठीक है. I will send you more flowchart activities tomorrow evening. क्योंकि हमारे papers का end आ रहा है, so I will start giving you my activities. Manage करो, मुझे पता है आपके subjects हैं, but that's the way it has to go. हमें साथ साथ सारा करना पड़ेगा. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so this is okay, right. A 1D array product of type string is used to store information about the range of products in a shop. There are 100 elements in an array. अच्छा, ठीक है. Each element stores one data. ठीक है. The format of each item is as follow: product ID and product name. ठीक हो गया. Product ID is a 4-character string of numerals. 4 character. Product name is a variable length string. ठीक हो गया. The following pseudocode is an initial attempt to define at defining a procedure array sort which will perform bubble sort on a product. The array to be sorted in ascending order of the product ID, line number have been arrayed. Okay, right. So ये आपके पास pseudo code है for that. Before I refer to this pseudo code, मैं एक बार revise आपके साथ करा दूं. मैंने ये explain कर रहा था A1s को भी exactly ये चीज. So this is, and I'll explain you through my example as well. ये book की है, and I'll explain you through my example as well. So, but you do remember what a bubble sort is, by the way. मैं recap कर दूं अगर आप भूल ना गए हो, यही होगा. आपको याद होगा what bubble sort is. Do you remember when we compare values? If we compare the first two values, if these two values, and if you have to arrange them in ascending order, we look at them. If they're fine, we go to the next one. If this value is greater than this one, we swap it. We bring 27 over here. Okay, and this is the way we keep on doing it. So there are obviously different attempts. First attempt, second attempt, third attempt. First attempt में एक बारी swap हो गई, दूसरे में दूसरे, and so on and so. So a full swapping process goes on. First pass, second pass, third pass. Eventually, you have them in your ascending order. You get my point, right? So you know what bubble sort is. Am I right? Khatija?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have a look at this code. For I, now I is 0 to length. So I is a variable that I start from 0 to length array to be sorted -2. I'll just explain you why -2. If array to sort I is greater than array to sort I plus 1, which means the first element of the array needs to be compared with the next element of the array. So if that is greater than this, then you do is that you put the array sort 1, this one, if the first element, I repeat, is greater than the second element, you will put the first element in a temporary variable, and you would say is array to sort is equals to array to sort I plus 1. Okay, so whatever the greater value was in this will be assigned to this, and whatever was assigned to this goes in the temp, and finally it comes over here. So एक swapping process हो रहा है कि I से गया temp में, temp से गया next value में. So the swapping keeps on going on, right? Two इसलिए हमने किया है कि the first thing is whenever we do our sorting, let's say I have some elements over here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to swap. I have to reach over here just to do the swapping. I don't have to come here. So there's no point of going till the last one. पहली बात तो है कि इसलिए -1 करूँगा. पहली बात तो ये. Second reason why I have to do another -1 is because I'm starting from 0. Okay, I'm talking about an array, or array की जो indexing है starts from 0. So that's why I'll be having another -1. So this is -2. Book ने इस तरह नहीं किया, book ने different तरीके से किया, मैं आपको बताता हूँ. Did you get this point? Why -2? One, because we don't reach till the last one. Another -1 because we are starting from 0. Okay. Look at the way the book has done it. मैं क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने से पहले आपको एक्सप्लेन करना चाहता हूँ, दोबारा रिकैप करके आपको समझ आ जाए. For I is equal to 0 to max -1, for j is equal to 0 to n. If my list j is greater than वही बात, same thing, then temp my list j comes into temp, my list j is equal to my list, जो अगली वैल्यू है वो इसमें आ जाए, और whatever was in temp इसमें आ जाए. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? But the only difference is इधर वो क्या कर रहा है, आपको -1 एक बार कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? That's the way they're doing right now. और -1 वो यहाँ भी डिक्लेयर कर रहे हैं. What over there I've done is I've declared -2 initially. But anyway, this is the way it works. Now, let's get back to the question and see what the question basically says. Now, look at this code. Question basically यही है कि is the following code has some errors. Can you tell me what the errors are? आपको पूरा क्वेश्चन सामने रखना पड़ेगा, फिर आपको पता चलेगा. Can you list down the errors in this code? Please have a look at it. आपको इसका appendix भी यूज करना पड़ेगा. Yeah, take your time. Not that much, but पता चला कोई error?
सर 2 मिनट प्लीज.
अच्छा. पूरा क्वेश्चन पढ़ना पड़ेगा. एक प्रोडक्ट है, स्ट्रिंग है. अच्छा ठीक है, टेक टाइम. फाइन. मैं तेजी से करूंगा तो गलत होगा. सॉरी. There are a number of errors.
सर लाइन 5 में मेरा ख्याल है क्योंकि 100 एलिमेंट्स है और 2 to 99 100 नहीं बनता है. और इसके अलावा आई गेस लाइन 13 और 14 जो है, क्योंकि पहले एंड एफ होगा और उसके बाद एंड 4 होगा.
वेरी गुड, बिल्कुल ठीक है, बिल्कुल सही. इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम है इस लाइन में? क्वेश्चन देखो, डिक्लेयर टेम्प, इसकी डेटा टाइप सही है टेम्प की?
इंटीजर होगी.
बिल्कुल सही. अच्छा, और have we declared all the variables? हमने आई जे को डिक्लेयर किया है? नहीं किया ना?
नो सर.
ठीक है. और ये मॉडुलस क्या है? मॉडुलस का क्या काम इसमें? मतलब आई डोंट नो, वी आर बबल सॉर्टिंग कर रहे हैं. बबल सॉर्टिंग में मॉडुलस का काम तो आता ही नहीं है. व्हाई आर वी यूजिंग इट? आपने सोचा नहीं है ना? मॉडुलस तो रिमाइंडर निकालने के लिए
जी सर.
हाँ, तो रिमाइंडर का
जी.
करने की नहीं है. या अगर यूज करना था तो यहाँ वी कुड हैव यूज्ड इज टू नंबर टू कन्वर्ट एनीथिंग टू नंबर. ओके, आप यू कैन रिफर टू द अपेंडिक्स एज वेल. ठीक है. और सेकेंडली एक और ये मेंशन था, जस्ट आई रेड इट, इज अ 4 कैरेक्टर स्ट्रिंग. इज अ 4 कैरेक्टर ना? सो ये हम 6 का यूज कर रहे हैं. 6 की जगह 4 होना चाहिए. ओके, यू गेट द पॉइंट?
यस सर.
4 है ना? और एक और भी है, ये देखो यहाँ 1 टेम्प. ये आई नहीं होगा, ये जे है. ये भी जे है. दिस इज प्रोडक्ट जे. ओके, द वैल्यू ऑफ प्रोडक्ट जे गोज इनटू टेम्प एंड देन प्रोडक्ट जे. अगर वो प्लीज आपने काम करना है. हैव अ लुक एट दिस. दिस इज आपकी बुक का ना, 216. You have a look at this code again, please. Have a look at this one. Okay. फिर आपको समझ it. You should know how does it work. So ये J है, but ये errors है और तो कोई error है नहीं. There is no other error I can see. So वही है.
अच्छा सर, अगर अब नीचे J है तो ऊपर काउंट फॉर जो I है तो फिर उसको क्यों डिक्लेयर किया, मतलब वो क्यों चला रहा है काउंट और I 1 to 100 जो है फिर वो क्यों लिखा हुआ है अगर नीचे J की निकाल रहे हैं तो?
देखो जिस तरह इधर भी ये जो I है ना, ये तो आपके वो काउंटिंग के लिए है. ओके, फॉर 0 टू मैक्सिमम, तो आपकी जितनी भी अरे होगी, ओके, सो यू हैव टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम 0, और जो मैक्सिमम होगा उस वट एवर यू हैव, सो यू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम हेयर एंड यू विल गो टिल हेयर -1. ठीक है, इसके समझ आ गई? इसके लिए हम आई यूज करेंगे. यस और नो?
यस सर.
ठीक है, and then we have j is 0 to n. if mile is j, तो ये तो हम i यूज करें इसकी काउंटिंग के लिए. ठीक है, जो आपकी वैल्यू है, सॉरी, जो j है that is for these elements के लिए, right? j+1,
यस सर.
right? So same case over here, same case that you can see over here is not this one, this one. Yeah, there is no point of मतलब हम सारा करने के बाद इवन वैसे जनरली भी अगर तुम देखो इसको समझने की कोशिश करो, प्रोडक्ट आई फिर प्रोडक्ट आई को फिर प्रोडक्ट j+1, वो व्हाट्स द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस? इफ आई एम basically assigning whatever is in product to temp, and then what I'm doing is whatever is in product j+1 to product, fine, समझ आती है. then what I do is initial lastly जो temp पे था वो मैं वापस डाल रहा हूँ product j+1 में. So what is I doing over here when I is just there to increment and not to determine the value? j का बनता ही तो किधर, बात समझ रहे हो? right? So we have this, वही जो हमने डिस्कस किया है, ये भी आपने बताया था मुझे. 4 या वही सेम रॉन्ग एंड स्टेटमेंट एंड इफ एंड ये भी आपने बताया था मुझे. ठीक है, राइट, करेक्टर था स्ट्रिंग, राइट. So these are your errors. Okay, now we have is did you try doing this question 4 वाला?
नो सर.
अच्छा बेटा, एक आपने काम करना है प्लीज, एक आपने काम करना है. आपने प्लीज क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 जो है ना, इसको पूरी तरह समझ के ना एक ब्लैंक पीस ऑफ पेपर में इसको आंसर करना है इसका, in VB or in Python whatever, and write whatever you know. ठीक है, कोई भी कोड. ठीक है, and try to understand it, and then I'll Tuesday को before I start solving June 18 में ये वाला पार्ट में एक्सप्लेन करूंगा, ये वाला. ठीक है, क्योंकि इसको अभी एक्सप्लेन करने में मुझे कोई 15-20 मिनट आराम से लग जाएंगे, जो उस तरह नहीं होगी समझ. ट्यूसडे के क्लास में आई कुड बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन इट इन मच बेटर वे. ठीक है, बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है, इट्स नॉट टफ, इसकी फुल अंडरस्टैंडिंग करो सो दैट वी कैन आर्ग्यू ऑन इट. ठीक है, और इसके बाद मैं आपको नहीं दिखाना चाह रहा था. खैर इसमें क्वेश्चन है ऑब्वियसली आईडी में what are the different features that can help us to debug a program. Obviously we have variable values. Okay, variable values can be monitored to see if output is accordingly. When we define a variable can be used somewhere, and this can help us to debug. Breakpoints होते हैं, जिससे मैंने अभी आपको केस का भी वो ब्रेक पॉइंट दिखाया था. दिस इज अ ब्रेक पॉइंट, लाइक दिस, ये ब्रेक कर रहे हैं ना. सो ब्रेक कहीं भी यूज होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू हैव वेरी लेंथी कोड एंड यू वांट टू ब्रेक इन द मिडल, यू कैन ब्रेक इन द मिडल सो दैट यू कैन सी कि यहाँ से आता कोड से काम कर रहा है कि नहीं. आप ब्रेक करके देख लो. अगर सही काम कर रहे हैं फिर अगला ब्रेक करके देख लो काम कर रहा है. So breaks can be used not only in case, they can be used somewhere as well. इसको break points कहते हैं. Then we have is single stepping. Single stepping is just like breakpoint, but is different होता है. इसमें step by step we can localize the parts, the modules to locate the error at an exact position. So question basically था कि IDEs में what features are available that can help us